Hi, my name is Isaiah Abad, and this is my CSE335 final project. This project is called the QuickDate iOS application, and I will be going into the project details right now. Now, before I created this project, I wanted to create something that most people had some problems with and something that you haven't really seen before. So I was thinking of a problem that I had, and this problem was trying to come up with a date idea. So the problem states that a couple or someone who wants to go on a date sometimes can't come up with a good date idea or want to go somewhere they haven't been before. Now, this application helps indecisive users who want to go on a date decide on where they want to go. This application generates a date idea using an algorithm that randomly generates the type of date a user may want to go on and uses the Yelp Fusion API to select a place that fits the randomly generated date. So, for example, if a user goes into the generate date idea view, they are able to randomly generate a date idea by clicking on this generate button that you see on the screen right here. And once you do that, um, the output of this date could be like a picnic date, a dinner date, or something general like a dinner date, like I said. So if a dinner date is selected, then the Yelp Fusion API is able to search that up in Yelp and get all of the restaurants or places that fit that uh, input. So the idea of this project is to store these randomly generated ideas into a user database so users can go back and look at their date ideas as future reference or to share these ideas with others. Now to make this project possible, this class diagram illustrates all of the objects or view controllers that are necessary. So on the top left, we have the view controller, which is our main view controller. Then we have the date idea detailed view controller, profile view controller, generate idea view controller, and we also have objects such as user and date ideas. So starting off from the main view controller, we have, so this will be basically our table that contains all of these dates. So it uh, uses the UI table view data source, UI view controller, and UI table view delegate to make this possible. So from here, we're going to have a whole bunch of cells that contains the date idea. So our attributes would be a date list, and then we have a button that, um, or we have the table of this view controller, and then we have the table view. So this is going to be the view of all of the cells or the number of cells in this table. So from here we have the date table view cell. The attributes would be a date title, date image, and a view button. Now the date title would obviously be the idea or the date idea name. And then we have the date image, so this would be like a thumbnail for the date. And the view button, so once you click on this view button, we're going to go into the date idea detailed view controller. Now, before getting into all of these details right here, in order for a user to obtain this information of dates, we'd have to create a user object. So this user has a username and a password and a profile picture. So this application has a sign in and login implementation. So when a user has to like create an account, they'd have to use a username, create a password, and they don't have to worry about uploading a profile picture at the start. So when after they create an account, they will have like a default um, profile picture, which is just going to be a heart. Uh, a user operate a user has an operation of saving the user information, and I didn't put this on the class diagram, but it will have get and setter methods. So continuing on what I was saying before, when you click on a cell or a date idea, you will go into the detail view controller. Now this will showcase like the date, and down here we have the date idea object and date ideas uh, object here as well. This will just be an array of date ideas, and you have a method of initializing the list and getting the date idea object. So whenever we go into the detail view, we'd get a date idea object, which will contain the date title, date image, and description. And this date idea, when you initialize it, it will have all those things right here. So another thing, we'll have a profile view controller. This is a way for a user to edit their profile or just view like everything that they need. So like we have a user function. This user will have, or this user attribute, user will have username, password, and a profile picture. And this user is able to edit the profile and by inputting those attributes in there. Next, we have a generate idea view controller. Now this one, in the previous slide, I showcased this. It'll have a generate button here. Once you click that, you are able to set the date idea by creating a new date. So yeah, this generate view controller can create a new date by accessing this date idea object. Next, we have the model view controller. It's kind of similar to this class diagram, but in more detail. So our controller would be our the way of like calling the API, authenticating users when they sign in or log in, or like create an account. So this would be a way of saving everyone's information into the Firebase database. Now we have the model, which is the Firebase database. So this Firebase database storage stores like the date ideas, user information. Next, we have the view. It is all of these objects that I listed in the class diagram. It's going to be all the view controllers. So it's going to display the user profile, the view with all the table or the table view, and it's going to display like a sign in login page and the list of date ideas. Now we have our capabilities and limitations. Some of the capabilities would be like a Firebase database user login and sign up. So when you first open the app, a user is able to sign in using the credentials they use to sign up. So all they need is like a username and a password, and they're able to sign up to Firebase. And Firebase is actually a good way of keeping that information secure. So another capability would be Firebase security. Another capability would be the Yelp Fusion API, which calls during the generation of date ideas. Another one would be user profile edits, so a user can edit their profile. They can view their date ideas, like how many date ideas they have, and they're able to sign up from there. Another and last one would be a user can generate a large number of date ideas. So limitations, we have a Yelp API daily access limit of 5,000 API calls for a day. So this would be a limitation because let's say we have 5,001 users that use this app. Now, if they all called the Yelp Fusion API by clicking on the generate button, then they wouldn't be able to generate any more ideas due to this limitation right here. So yeah. Now for lessons learned, I've learned a couple. One is that a fully functional app cannot be created in one day. So for me, it's not really about procrastination, but due to all all of these assignments coming in, it's kind of hard to uh, find some time to develop an app. So I would try to do it in one day, but obviously it doesn't turn out well. So I've learned that it takes like a week, more than that, to like actually set up the project, know what you want to make. You got to create the UI. So yeah, you got to take some time to create whatever application you're creating. So another one would be that app development is a bit difficult. So I haven't really used um, iOS applications or developed them before. So obviously there's going to be a learning curve there. But the main problem for me was like when I was researching these, trying to find some tutorials or documentations, they would be a little outdated, which was a little um, disappointing at some points, but at the end of the day, I was able to find a way to develop some applications without the documentation. So another lesson is that a lot of testing is necessary for app development. There were some issues or bugs that I haven't experienced before, so trying to learn what those bugs meant took a lot of time and just a lot of testing on like how these bugs are developed or um, how to resolve those bugs. So uh, that was a big lesson that I've learned. So another one and the last one on the slide would be remote access in project management. So for me, I had to use a remote access because I don't have a Mac to develop these applications. So I've learned that I can't just post these on a Google Drive or else like it will ruin the file somehow. So I learned how to use Git and connect my Git repositories to Xcode. So project management, there's like a step-by-step app implementation. Obviously, you can't, just like any other software, you can't create an app without having an idea of how to create it. So you need like what I had before. You start off with a class diagram. You figure out like if you need to use a design pattern like the MVC diagram that is shown here. And then from there, you can start going into details on like what methods each object needs and all that. So uh, yeah, everything is a step-by-step process. You got to be patient, and you can't just start without anything. Lastly, I have some suggestions for improvement. One thing I didn't really like with my application is the user design. I thought it was a little bit simple, and I felt like it needed some colors, or it just looked like an app from the early 2010s. So another thing is phone screen responsiveness. I didn't really know how to adjust the like padding or width of my user design because I'm new to this, but those are a few things when it comes to UI. So another improvement would be like a better algorithm for generating my dates. It was a bit simple, and I just used like an array to come up with these date ideas. I wish there was a way to actually come up with randomly generated dates using like several different or 1,000 words. Um, Another thing would be improving the application lag. So whenever I'd run the application for some reason or transition to another page, it would just be a little bit laggy, and I'm sure there's like a way to reduce that lag. So when it comes in terms of class, I'd say prioritization of class assignments. There's a lot of assignments that were due in this class, so I wish I was able to um, set aside some other assignments to work on these projects because these projects took a while, especially since I had remote access. So yeah, lastly, plan ahead of time. I got to know like what is due so I don't have to spend one day coming up with an app or developing an app. But yep, this has been um, my quick date project, and thank you guys for listening.